Trigger warning, the R word, torture, anything like that. Hello guys, today is another day of Fun Fridays with Y.Tlaloc. Today we're gonna read the Hello Kitty case murder. Okay, good. The article will be in the description. Okay? Alright, let's start. Fong claimed that for the past several nights she was being haunted by the ghost of a young woman. The specter was of a reality deceased 23-year-old Fan Man Yi, a waitress, drug addict, and prostitute. Fong told the police that after nearly a month, she took part in torturing this woman in a nearby apartment in unimaginable ways. Upon hearing her story, police brushed it off as a teenage delusion, or perhaps a young teenager experimenting with drugs. I find it funny how a lot of these stories, they could have been prevented by if the police officers actually did their job and investigated. And a lot of times, there are claims, but they don't even investigate until after the person is dead, and it could have prevented their death. I find that crazy sometimes. In fact, Fong had already a record of being associated with gang members after running away from her home the previous year. Regardless, they followed her to the apartment. What they found in the apartment would become one of the most disgusting acts of human depravity and cruelty that has ever happened. Police believed Fong's story as they opened apartment 31 on Granville Road in Kowloon. Police noticed the putrid smell of rotting flesh hit the officer's door before they stepped through the doorway. The apartment owner was a 34-year-old man named Y.Tlaloc, a known drug lord and gang affiliate and tribe leader. Hong Kong in the 1990s was rampant with gang violence. Members of the tribes would often hang out at local brothels. I don't know what that is. It was at one of these brothels. I'm assuming like a bar, maybe. In 1997, the romance villa in Kowloon that Chan met 23-year-old Fan Man Yi, a known prostitute and ice addict. Oh, a brothel is like a whorehouse. Okay. I think Fan had a troubled life growing up. I'm not surprised. I feel so sorry for her. Her family abandoned her while she was an only child, and she ended up at the Ma Tao Y girls at home. Fan became addicted to drugs at a very early age and paid for her addiction. She started selling her body for sex at various brothels and nightclubs. She nearly found happiness when she married in 1996 and gave birth to a son. The relationship was rocky, but with both Fan and her husband being addicted to drugs, and neighbors complained constantly of hearing domestic abuse in the apartment. After Fan met Y.Tlaloc, he began paying for her long sex sessions and ice binges together. It was early March 1999 during one of these binges that Fan allegedly stole Chan's wallet containing a HK of $20,000, or in US money, $2,560. Although Fan quickly paid Y.Tlaloc back with interest from her prostitution earnings, he demanded more money from her. Oh my. In his mind, Fan had still not paid her debt, but she literally, he demanded more compensation. I'm gonna assume sex. The kidnapping of Fan Man Yi happened during the evening of March 17, 1999 by two triad members, Liang Xing Chao and Luang Wao Lun from Chan, whom Chan had ordered for her abduction. The group's plan was to abduct Fan and make her prostitute until she repaid her debt. What do you know, I was right. Chan's mainly used this 5-bedroom apartment for gang-related activities and for reasons unknown. The Hello Kitty products made up the entire apartment's decor. The men high on ice and crystal meth began mercilessly beating Fan, oh my goodness, until she lost consciousness, oh my. The three men continued to get high on ice before they resumed beating her. It was then when they realized that Fan could not make any money on the street, as she had 3 men bruised and beaten her. This is honestly so disgusting. She's been through all of this stuff, and now her life has to be ended by these 2 horrible men. This makes me want to throw up. This breaks my heart, I'm not gonna lie. Imagine this happened to someone you care about. The 13-year-old Fong, who was there for most of the crime, detailed for the courts what happened during a time of the men kept Fan Man-yi alive and in and out of consciousness. First, Fong recalls the group tied her up, took off her shoes, and using plastic straws began melting the plastic on Fan's feet, causing blistering. What? The men did this for several hours before getting bored with the straws. They instead began holding the flame to her already blistered feet. Chili oil, vegetable oil, infused with different chili peppers poured into her blisters, her wounds, and her eyes. Each night when the gang slept, they would hang up their victim by her feet from a hook attached to the apartment ceiling. They have no remorse. What is wrong with them? There's nothing in their brain telling them, making them want to stop whatever sick thing they're doing. This is disgusting. When the morning came, the men beat Fan with iron bars and a detached water pipe. They would again use the chili oil to maximize her pain. When Fan would drift out of consciousness, they would stop torturing her and play video games. They sound like children. 13-year-old Fong told the court they beat her all the time. They beat her when they were bored. They beat her for laughs. High on ice, the gang threw oyster sauce in her face and eyes, made her drink motor oil. They began urinating in her mouth. Oh my. And beating her senseless if she dared to spit it out. She was broken, and playing with her wasn't so much fun after that. But we carried on anyway. There wasn't anything else to do. Fan was not, that was a quote by the way, Fan was not being fed or given water. The 13-year-old tells police. The 13-year-old tells police that when she defecated into a shoebox, they forced her to eat poop. Oh my goodness. Sentencing the 3 men to life imprisonment. No, they deserve something worse. Way worse than just life imprisonment. Oh my gosh. Justice Peter Negillian said, never in Hong Kong in recent years has a court heard of such cruelty, depravity, callousness, brutality, violence, and viciousness. On April 15th, the 4 returned home from the arcade and clubs. It was the evening, so they rested before checking on the victim. When they awoke, they noticed that Fan was no longer breathing and her body was cooled to the touch. Fan Man-yi was deceased. The group then panicked because police entered the apartment complex 1 floor below to investigate an unrelated rape case. Y.Tlaloc ordered the entire group to work together and dispose of Fan's body. And what Fong recalls, now she must be destroyed. They moved the corpse to the bathtub and starting, I'm seeing pictures, oh my goodness. No thank you. Just saw pictures when I scrolled down. They moved the corpse to the bathtub and started with the head, and Chan began dismembering her body with a handsaw. Once Chan removed her head, he placed it on a pot of boiling water on the stove. The entire dismemberment took approximately 10 hours to complete. He ordered the other 2 men to remove the flesh from the corpse's bones and store the muscle tissue inside the refrigerator. This has to be one of the worst cases I've ever heard in my entire life. Being alive. It's always Asia, bro. Have y'all ever noticed it's always Asia where these type of things always happen? I don't understand. It's crazy to me. Luang Xing Cho, who was now in charge of cooking the head, called Fong to come help. However, she told detectives that her fear stopped her from looking inside the pot. That's when he told her to pretend you're watching a television. This is so sick. And she was 13. And I think she was one of their boyfriends or something. During this process, the group felt hungry to placing a pot on the hob. next to the boiling head. They began cooking noodles. Oh my goodness. The same spoon was used still. The noodles and the severed head? What? This is disgusting. The refrigerator contained teeth, muscle placed in Ziploc bags, and various internal organs. Police recovered Fan's liver, intestines, lungs, heart from the canopy below the apartment on May 26th. Inside a Hello Kitty mermaid doll was the skull removed of all flesh sewn inside the head. Okay. The court granted Ah Fong full immunity for her testimony against all three men. I don't know if she should get away with everything. I mean, they did force her though, and she is 13. The world is so cruel. During a 6-week trial, the trio denied killing Fan, but admitted to preventing her from receiving a lawful burial. They also minimized their own roles in the torture session by blaming each other of taking the lead roles. This defense team was nearly successful in convincing the jury that Fan died not of torture, but of drug overdose. Nah bro, she died of torture. Although Fan's husband testified that she had stopped using drugs before having the son, the medical authorities could not determine the exact cause of Fan's death. So the jury refused to convict any of the three men with murder. What? Are you kidding me? In December 2000, they sentenced all the three men to life in prison with the possibility of parole in the year of 2020. We're in 2021. She did not get justice for what happened to her at all, and that disgusts me. She was obviously murdered. Did you guys not hear what I was just reading? They probably did more than that. What I just read. Who knows? Honestly. Man, all I'm gonna say is, if that was my daughter, mother, aunt, close friend of mine, I don't know what I would do. I would want to murder all of them for doing that to someone I care dearly about. And she had a kid and she was married and she had a terrible life. That is crazy to me. Reminds me of a lot of things. Anyways, yeah, that's it guys. I love y'all. Stay safe. This is a pretty scary and disturbing story. Most disturbing one I've read yet, in my opinion. And I've only read one story. I love y'all. Peace. Goodbye.